Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Tuesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with Dr. Jamie Wagner. Dr. Wagner is a clinical associate professor of pharmacy practice at the University of Mississippi School of Pharmacy. She's giving us the current updates when it comes to COVID-19. Enjoy our program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In national news, police say Buffalo gunman aimed to keep killing if he got away. The white gunman accused of massacring 10 black people in a racist rampage at a Buffalo supermarket planned to keep on killing if he had escaped the scene, the police commissioner said on Monday, as the possibility of federal hate crime or domestic terror charges loomed. The gunman, who had crossed the state to target people at the Tops Friendly Market, had talked about shooting up another store as well, the Buffalo police commissioner told CNN. He was going to get in his car and continue to drive down Jefferson Avenue and continue doing the same thing, the commissioner said. The commissioner's account was similar to portions of a racist 180-page document purportedly written by the gunman that said the assault was intended to terrorize all non-white, non-Christian people and get them to leave the country. Federal authorities were working to confirm the document's authenticity. The shooter, 18, traveled about 200 miles from his home in Conklin, New York, to commit the attack, police said. Authorities said he wielded an AR-15 style rifle, wore body armor, and used a helmet camera to live stream the bloodbath on the internet. He was arraigned on a murder charge over the weekend and pleaded not guilty. Federal prosecutors said they are contemplating hate crime charges. The former Buffalo Fire Commissioner, Garnell Whitfield Jr., who lost his 86-year-old mother Ruth Whitfield in the shooting, asked how the country could allow its history of racist killings to repeat itself. We're not just hurting, we're angry, we're mad. This shouldn't have happened. We do our best to be good citizens, to be good people. We believe in God, we trust Him. We treat people with decency, and we love even our enemies, Whitfield said at a news conference with civil rights attorney Ben Crump and others. And you expect us to keep doing this over and over and over and over? Forgive and forget, he continued. While people we elect and trust in offices around this country do their best not to protect us, not to consider us equal, Whitfield's mother was killed after making her daily visit to her husband in a nursing home. The victims also included a man buying a cake for his grandson, a church deacon helping people get home with their groceries, and a supermarket security guard. The bloodshed in Buffalo was the deadliest in a wave of weekend shootings, including at a California church and a Texas flea market. Messages were left with the shooter's attorneys on Monday. No one answered the door at his family's home in the morning, and relatives did not respond to messages from the Associated Press. Law enforcement officials said Sunday that New York State police troopers had been called to the shooter's high school last June for a report that the then 17-year-old had made threatening statements. The threat was general in nature and not related to race, law enforcement said to the Associated Press. And more national news. U.S. deaths from COVID hit 1 million less than 2.5 years in. The U.S. death toll from COVID-19 hit 1 million on Monday, a once unimaginable figure that only hints at the multitudes of loved ones and friends staggered by grief and frustration. The confirmed number of dead is equivalent to a 9/11 attack every day for 336 days. It is roughly equal to how many Americans died in the Civil War and World War II combined. It's as if Boston and Pittsburgh were wiped off the map, says the Associated Press. Some of those left behind say they cannot return to normal. They replay their loved ones' voicemail messages or watch old videos to see them dance. When other people say they are done with the virus, they bristle with anger or ache in silence. Most deaths happen in urban areas, but rural places where opposition to masks and vaccinations tend to run high paid a heavy price at times. In more national news, White House says deal near to reopen formula plant. Under fire from parents and politicians, President Joe Biden's administration on Monday is expected to announce an agreement soon to reopen the largest domestic manufacturing plant of infant formula and to ease import rules to allow suppliers in from overseas amid a nationwide shortage spurred by the Michigan's plant shutdown earlier this year over safety issues. A consent decree between the producer, Abbott, and the Food and Drug Administration that would pave the way for reopening the plant is forthcoming, said Brian Deese, the director of the White House National Economic Council. He added that the agency would also take steps to allow more foreign imports into the U.S. to address the urgent supply constraints. And finally, in business news, stocks end mostly lower, extending losing streak for S&P 500. Stocks closed a wobbly day of trading, mostly lower on Wall Street Monday, extending a losing streak for markets. The broader market is in the midst of a slump as investors try to gauge how companies and consumers are dealing with higher prices and whether central banks can help ease the problem. Major indexes have been slipping since early April. The Dow Jones Industrial Average eked out a gain, rising 27 points, or 0.1%, to 32,223. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
This is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Let go and forgive. Once you let go and forgive, all your past hurt, your energy will change. You will feel lighter, more peaceful, and ready to live your life to the fullest. The first person you must forgive is yourself. Forgive yourself for following bad advice, expecting someone else to be a person they're not. Forgive yourself for having any motives you might harbor. When you hold on to any past grievance, the only person whom you hurt is you. Understand what another person may have been trying to teach you. Look back and learn from any past hurt so it can finally end. As you practice forgiveness, you will find your relationship soaring and your career turning around because you turned around to become the loving, successful person our society needs. Today, forgive and let go as you enjoy the day.
We have part of my conversation coming up with Dr. Jamie Wagner in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Dr. Jamie Wagner, Clinical Associate Professor of Pharmacy Practice at the University of Mississippi School of Pharmacy, joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the current status when it comes to COVID-19. Here's a bit of our conversation.
Well, there's so much information out there, and we always are glad to be able to have a trusted source to be able to help us out. So I want to ask you this question, Dr. Wagner. Why is it important to get vaccinated instead of just thinking you can just get COVID and be done with it?
I think that's a really excellent question. I think that's a question that people have been asking themselves since the start of the pandemic. And I think what we've learned so far over the last 2 years is that COVID is still, unfortunately, very unpredictable. We don't know if somebody who gets infected is going to have a mild case. We don't know if they're going to have a severe case. And quite frankly, getting vaccinated actually helps prevent that severity from occurring, okay? So the unvaccinated people were twice as likely than those who were vaccinated to experience ongoing symptoms. And honestly, as an infectious disease specialist pharmacist, the long COVID is what scares me the most because we cannot do anything except mitigate the symptoms of that. And so if you get the vaccine, you are far less likely, if not going to get long COVID. And to me, that is well worth it to get that vaccine instead.
Dr. Wagner, I think, for so many people, and I get it, I haven't been outside of Mississippi now in 2.5 years. Because of the pandemic, I haven't started traveling outside the state yet. But people are ready to get out and about. They want to be able to go about their lives. What could another COVID surge mean, though, for summer travel, as well as people feeling safe while they're traveling?
Yeah, that's a great question. The way to think about that is, what can I do to keep not only myself safe, but what can I do to keep others safe around me?
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News. Prepare to get on tomorrow's more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.